What do we do with our beautiful old buildings? It's always been a matter of debate. Do we ignore their historical value and raise them to make way for the new? Or do we keep their facade and rip out the inside and infuse a more techno-modern style? I believe the best solution is to retain a building's heritage and then successfully fuse a contemporary aesthetic. And to me, this former IXL jam factory in Hobart is a fantastic example. It's an historic building that had a truly remarkable transformation into a slick modern hotel. And this is it. What a conversion. There's a fierce defence of history and tradition, but also with really passionate contemporary design. And this is just one suite. Working with the history of the building, the walls were stripped back to reveal its heritage. Centuries-old wallpaper, original beams and an exquisite sandstone shell. So against this backdrop of the old, we constructed all of the things required to run a 21st century building. Like new floating floors were placed on top of the existing upper floors, and through them run all the acoustic materials and the hydraulic services and all the wiring required to run a modern building. You only have to look at one of the bedrooms to see how cleverly they've combined the old industrial features, high ceilings, exposed beams and brick walls with stylish contemporary furnishings. It gives a look and feel that's modern but warm and earthy at the same time. It's all about the combinations. Bathrooms are modern with stainless steel and translucent glass, yet warm colours and materials are also used where appropriate, such as these Tasmanian timber ceilings. The exterior blends beautifully with the interior, creating a really balanced dialogue. One is not competing with the other. It creates a really seamless fusion between our heritage and the now. When you see as successful a renovation as this, you really appreciate the value of preserving our old buildings, allowing them to evolve by combining elements of past and the present to create truly unique spaces.
In a country like... One of the greatest things about Australian family dinners is their diversity. Being such a multicultural country, what we eat varies a lot. But whether it's grilled halloumi, prawns, snags or even kebabs, the barbie unites us all. In my household, what I eat for family dinners is pretty casual, but let's see how they do it across the sea. In Spain, when no one's around town, it's siesta time. Family dinners here are at lunchtime, which Aussie expats Sophie, Michael and Ruby love.
The way life is structured here is that you work and you work hard, people work hard. But every day there's this forced break that you have to have. Everything shuts. You have to spend time with your family. Sitting down to a meal is important.
Lunch is usually cold, a mix of bread, salad, cold meats, and of course that Spanish delicacy, gazpacho.
It's a very easy sort of rhythm to grab hold of because it makes perfect sense. Coming home after work in Australia, being tired, preparing the dinner, having very little energy, and then sitting down to a meal and really not feeling like talking most of the time. The contrast here is that we're energised because it's the afternoon, and so we do talk, we do communicate, we do spend time, we do take the time, and yeah, I prefer it. I think it's much more sane and it's much more healthy.
What's the key to classic, timeless appeal?
Something we're always aiming for is to create a living space that is beautiful and durable. And that is something that decorative tiles have been doing for literally thousands of years, making them a truly classic, timeless design material.
There is much we can learn from the bold use of colour and decorative design of these tiles to apply in our own homes. Now, Spain has a strong, diverse ceramic tradition which reached its peak in the work of Antonio Gaudi.
And here in Park Güell in Barcelona, Spain, you get to witness Gaudi's incredible use of tiles in full flight. And when you see this stuff, it's actually pretty overwhelming, and you realise that this guy had to be a complete and utter genius.
Making the best use of curved surfaces, Gaudi used recycled ceramics from broken tiles, plates and cups to create this beautiful mosaic. Barcelona ceramicist Tony Camella has been responsible for the recent renovation of Gaudi's UNESCO heritage-listed site.
My intervention has been in two ways. One is in the white part, and it was to reproduce 21 tones of white because Gaudi used factory leftovers from different factories. And so since pure white doesn't exist, we had to find 21 different tones of white. On the upper surface of the bench, we ventured into a more subjective work. But what we did was scrupulously respect the concept and the philosophy that was utilised in the colours here, as you can see.
From the celebrated master of mosaic to a modernist approach in this amazing 1950s house.
Traditionally, Spanish Catalan roofs use ceramic tiles. They're long-lasting, they require low maintenance, they're waterproof, they're ice-proof. But the best thing, they can be applied to the most expressive undulating forms, just like these roofs.
The roof poetically echoes the sand dunes and waves of the sea, which is only a stone's throw away. The colours and textures of the tiles then work with the surrounding natural colour palette. Tiles have been put to so many different uses in this home that it makes you realise that there is great potential for their use in our own homes.
Tiles work so well in hallways, living spaces, offices, bedrooms. They're easy to clean, and the best thing is they work like a lung. They hold the warmth when it's cold and they cool the house down when it's hot. Very clever.
Tiles are natural and practical and great for living spaces as they don't promote bacteria growth or capture airborne allergens. Also, tiles have no inherent odour, nor do they absorb any external smells, so great for anyone with pets. And here they've used tiles in the kitchen. Well, no surprises there really. We've all got tiles in the kitchen and it makes pure sense. They're durable, stain resistant and flame-proof.
Now, you could be mistaken that thinking this is any sort of contemporary chic bathroom in Australia, but this is in fact original 1959 Catalan ceramic tile. This is where it all started.
Recently, some contemporary architects have been doing some amazing things with tiles. In the spirit of Gaudi, this rooftop at the Santa Caterina markets in Barcelona looks like a piece of billowing fabric caught in mid-flight. Catalan architect Benedetta Tagliabue was responsible for this exquisite design.
We designed a colourful design on top of the roof because we really wanted the city to understand the joy that it's developing inside a market. So what is happening inside, what is going in your eyes, all these colors and all these forms and all these beautiful smells, we wanted to be present into the city.
Tony worked on translating Benedetta's dream into reality. And here there are over 200,000 hexagonal tiles in 67 colours. Stunning stuff.
I think that the real inspiration here is that one should reflect on the fact that many things can be made with all sorts of things. That's the concept. One has to break from tradition and be free. Basically, free. When using elemental things, if there is creativity, one can realise any work. I think this is the most important thing that Gaudi leaves us with.
Tiles have been with us for centuries, one of the most durable materials ever. And mixed with a dash of creativity and ingenuity, they leave behind history of the most memorable kind.
Pick up any recent culinary magazine and you're sure to find a Tasmanian restaurant featured. Not only are they winning awards, but some are embracing sustainable practices that make the dining experience even better. Welcome to Peppermint Bay. The cornerstone of Peppermint Bay's philosophy is the development and maintenance of strong ties with the local suppliers and producers.
I think that nowadays we really like to know where our food comes from, and I've met and I've fostered some really good relationships with local growers and farmers and fishermen and cheesemakers, and it's a very interesting dynamic because we all seem to feed off each other and inspire each other, and that's kind of galvanised a bit of a, not a movement, but a very strong community in a sense that we're all part of something a little bit interesting and important, I suppose, yeah.
Must be like Christmas every day with all the suppliers bringing everything.
It is, it's great.
So shall we meet some of these local producers?
Yep, let's do it.
Stuart, Chris and Jamie, the Cackleberry Boys, are a group of inspiring egg farmers committed to sustainable organic practices and the humane treatment of their beloved chooks. All 1,500 of them radiate good health and vitality. Diane, Ryan and Alan operate their dairy in arguably the most scenic spot in the channel. Their East Friesland sheep's milk goes into their outstanding Pecorino cheese. John Zito is one of those gifted people that can grow absolutely everything himself at his idyllic nut patch in Kettering.
About 3 years ago, we found the trees were put in for hazelnuts, but we found our first truffles just by accident. I was just pruning and smelt the first one, and gradually they've been spreading throughout the orchard. Whoa, jackpot. There it is. The elusive white truffle.
Black gold.
Black gold. No, these are white gold.
Oh, that's full on, isn't it?
Mate, I can't wait to see what you're going to cook with all this local ingredients.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot, but I reckon what about soft poached egg ravioli, Huon Valley mushrooms, some nice pecorino, and of course these beautiful, beautiful truffles.
Oh, it's a tough life you're going to live.
It is. We'll wing it.
So what's the first step, Steve?
Well, the first step, Pete, as you know, cooking pasta. I've got water boiling, and I've already made the pasta. I'm just going to put a bit of flour down, and I'm going to roll it as thin as possible. So I'll just work it in my hands a little bit first. Put a little bit of flour on it.
Into your home. You can also increase the space you live in by setting up mirrors like this. You'll have an angle on everything. I am definitely borrowing some of those ideas.
As a chef, I'm constantly on the run, and unfortunately, my family life sometimes comes second. Someone recently asked me about becoming a chef. And I told them, don't do it. It takes inner strength as a chef to balance your public and private life. Maria Denoya and her business partner Rebecca White run a celebrated cafe in Hobart called Sugo. It's her love child and her passion.
Ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to have my own cake shop. Having a restaurant now has pretty much fulfilled that dream.
Maria is juggling her public and private life. So this is your public space?
Yes, this is Sugo. Welcome to Sugo.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
How did you find setting this up? Was it difficult?
It was really difficult, because I had a baby at the same time that we were doing this.
Yeah? I've just had a baby myself.
Oh, wow.
I'm finding it's a little bit difficult trying to find the balance.
Yeah, that's true.
Maria sources a lot of her produce from her father's garden.
We've got tomatoes and rocket and lemons and all of our herbs and all that sort of thing.
Very lucky.
Yes, very lucky indeed. I try and provide the best Mediterranean produce I possibly can for the restaurant.
Well, you're halfway there with produce you pick from your own garden.
Yeah, it's always lovely and fresh.
Now, this dish you're making, Maria.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about it? I know you're using some of your father's ingredients.
Well, it's Sugo's version of paella. So it's not very Spanish, but it's very Italian more than anything. But the ingredients are pretty much the same.
And what's from your father's garden?
Okay, we've got the garlic, the chilies as well.
And that's just olive oil in there?
Yeah, it's just olive oil, and we just fry the garlic and the chilies, and then we add the prawns. Could you grab me the chicken?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This one? All in?
Yep. just grab some chicken stock and add that in.
Now I hear you don't really use recipes too much. You go more on feel.
That's right. I like just to see, you know, how a dish looks and how it tastes, and if it tastes all right, then I think it must be all right for everyone else. Peter, could you grab the rice for me?
Sure. And how much do you want in?
Let's put all of it in.
Oh,
yeah.
And this is pre-cooked?
It is pre-cooked. We have a sort of a recipe that we use. It's the only recipe I do use because I know it just works every single time.
Just standard risotto?
Yep, standard risotto. The rice has actually absorbed some of the stock now, so it all pretty much comes together really quickly. So if we just add parmesan, let it absorb, we'll just add all the other ingredients at this point.
Yep.
Okay, so cherry tomatoes from Dad's garden.
And what have you done with them?
I've basically just oven roasted them with some oregano and some garlic salt. Just put in some fresh basil, also from Dad's garden. Just add some salt.
It's safe to say most things change or evolve, either in great strides or in the subtlest of ways. Some things, however, were perfected long ago and are destined to outlast us and stand the test of time. The world over, and particularly here in Spain, we have long been in love with the humble olive and the sublime olive oil. Today we still love them for their classic timeless appeal, but now we're using them in modern ways. Someone who knows about the many uses of olives and olive oil is Barcelona chef Paco Guzman. So what type of olive trees are these, Paco?
This is Argudell. This is one of the 500 types of olives we have in Spain.
500?
Yeah.
We only have like 3 or 4 in Australia that we know.
Many cultures bring in different oils of all the Mediterranean. And this is the best one to grow in this land, in this corner, that is the Ampurdán. You can see it's 6 more months that, to the olive grow. Now we are in the summer. They are going to be in the end of November. They are going to be ready.
So what do they taste like when they're ripe?
It's a green oil, very fresh, mature tastes like banana, wood, and that things. And also its bottom at the finish is astringent, like artichokes.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
So what are you going to make in the restaurant with this?
Let's see what we have in the fridge, and then we play.
Okay.
Let's go to the restaurant.
Otherwise, we'd be happier living in the country.
Love it or loathe it, one of the problems with city living is we're so busy we don't eat good, healthy food. We eat in the car, we eat at the desk, but with a little effort you can eat well without taking too much time out of your day. And it starts with a healthy breakfast. My breakfast is takeaway, but it's nutritious takeaway. I love to start my day off with a fresh juice. G'day Andy, how are you, mate?
Morning, Pete. Good, how are you?
Excellent. What do you got for me today?
Mate, I've got the morning energiser for you, which has got beetroot, carrot, apple and ginger.
Yum.
Beetroot for the blood circulation and blood cells. Carrot for the beta-carotene and your skin colour. Ginger for your digestion. And apple is a nice bit of fruit to start the morning.
Beautiful. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Lunch is always easiest on the run, but try to make your own at least a few times a week for some variety. Grab some ingredients and make yourself a fresh salad. Take some tomatini, crostini, bocconcini, basil, olives, sprinkle some salt and pepper, olive oil and vinegar, and there you have a beautiful salad for lunch. Or start the week by making some pumpkin and coconut milk soup. Chop some garlic, sliced ginger and chilli, coriander root, kaffir lime leaves, some lemongrass and a bit of lemon zest. Onto the pan, add some chopped onions along with olive oil. Stir, add the pumpkin and coconut milk and simmer for 30 minutes. Blend your ingredients and it's ready to pour into your thermos. And once in a while, make the effort to make something really tasty like Vietnamese rice paper rolls. Soak the rice paper,
Spread some chili jam, vermicelli noodles, some diced pork, Thai basil and Vietnamese mint, sprinkle some roasted peanuts, bean sprouts, cucumber, carrots, snow pea sprouts, and roll it up into a healthy lunchtime alternative.
Treat yourself well, eat well, and you'll enjoy more of your day.
And reinterpret with an eye for the overall design.
With food, tradition has dictated for centuries how we eat. This is how it goes. Savoury dishes never mix with sweet, cold dishes come before hot, and dessert is always last. But in Spain, those notions are being thrown out the window and the old boundaries of what and how we eat are being pushed into a whole new realm. Spain's revolutionary cuisine is leaving France and the rest of the world behind. It's goodbye to Nouvelle cuisine and hello to Spanish fusion. And world-renowned chef Ferran Adrià is leading the way.
I first heard about Ferran Adrià after reading his cookbook, and I was astonished at how far advanced his cooking techniques, his presentation, and his philosophy on food were.
In his restaurant El Bulli on the Costa Brava in Spain, Ferran Adrià is renowned for experimenting with unexpected food tastes and combinations that leave you astonished by the new possibilities of cuisine. Here, savoury becomes sweet, hot becomes cold, and the dining experience becomes a whole new thing.
The challenge of every day is getting up and seeing if you can do something new. That's creativity. There has to be certain people in this life that do new things and thereby make things evolve. And that's what we dedicate ourselves to doing.
Ferran's team throws out classic kitchen conventions and uses tools that come directly from his scientific lab. Things like syringes, blow torches and siphons to create truly unique, challenging taste combinations.
It's about shocking your palate and surprising your senses.
This, believe it or not, is a caramel vol au vent ready for the next step. This micro angel hair pasta is a dish that is still in the process of creation and does not yet have a name. But it will, just before the diners arrive.
One of our most important principles would be new philosophies, new techniques and new concepts. These things not only change cooking but also the world. If you analyze things, you always see that. Our small dream is to create a new technique and concept every day.
El Bulli is only open for 6 months of the year, and if you want to get a booking, be prepared to wait around 2 years. The menu stays the same for the season, and then those dishes are never cooked again.
This year, in the last 3 months, we've made 95 new recipes. Apart from these that have a very high standard, we've made many more that haven't made the level. The standard of excellence is very high for us. The most important thing is also for Ferran to try the plates, the menu. He might be content today and say this is great, but next day it's not good enough.
It's rock melon but bursts like caviar. It's amazing. I'm going to eat the rest. So after all the work and all the accolades, what does it really taste like? Let's try something.
Margarita with air salt. You eat from top to bottom, you eat from right here.
It's salty. It's a margarita. It's basically a margarita of foam. That's so good. This is just heaven. I can't even describe what it is, but it's heaven. It's popcorn with melted cheese. These flavours are so unique, but they're still quite... You've tasted them before, which makes it bizarre, but you're expecting a different texture or different... I don't know what you're expecting, but it blows your mind. I don't know what this is, but I'll taste it and let you know. Black olive, black olive sandwich. I'm not sure what's in between. I know it doesn't look like one, but I've been told this is a spicy baguette. I can't work that one out. I can't.
Ferran's cuisine is innovative, provocative and full of humour. And while we're not going to see these dishes on our tables, they do inspire us to examine and challenge our age-old eating habits.
And with so many space-saving, innovative designs, you can't lose.
Sustainability can mean so many different things, but as much as anything, it's about looking at things in a different way. Spanish rug designer Nani Marquina, whose fantastic rugs made my sustainable top 5, is one such lateral thinker. This beautiful award-winning rug is called Bicicleta, and you'll never guess what it's made from. Bicicleta means bicycle in Spanish, and yes, the rug is woven with recycled bicycle inner tubes. It's 100% recycled material. But it's not just about bicycles. Nani's company has a collection of more than 180 rugs with something for everyone.
There are rugs that only have an aesthetic message of colour, of design, but others have a textural message, and what gains importance is the idea that the rugs are speaking to you.
Her rugs are an excellent example of how designers can use sustainable materials and fair trade practices without compromising quality or style. These boxes of colour swatches is a bit like a painter's palette, and this is where Nani gets to play around and experiment with different colour combinations. And what you get the opportunity to see is how colours interact with each other and connect together, and eventually these colours turn into her beautiful and exquisite rugs. You know, it's not easy to translate what it feels like sitting on this beautiful rug, but how about something like sitting on a wave of felt coins? Maybe? It's gorgeous anyway.
When I arrived in Sydney 12 years ago, one of my first amazing dining experiences was at Tetsuyu's. Now, it's no secret that he knows what to do with fish in the kitchen, but what most people don't know is that he is also a mad fisherman. So Tetsuya, tell me about your love of fishing.
Well, I'm not actually... I don't think I'm a good fisherman, but just first of all, I love water. I love boats. And just sit there, okay, catching a fish, that's a bonus.
So here's the deal. Whoever catches the most fish cooks lunch, which makes this the one time I hope I don't get any bites. What we're doing is unsuccessfully trying to open this stupid box, which has got worms in it. Live worms, actually.
There you go, mate.
Oh, thanks. And here we're likely to catch just about anything. Live worms are your classic bait. You feed half the worm onto your hook, leaving the other half dangling, and this will attract the fish. If you haven't caught anything within, say, 5 minutes, it's a good idea to check your bait. Chances are it's gone or it's dead.
Oh,
Hang on, flathead! Woo. Oh! Don't muck around. Straight up, straight up. Beauty, Pete!
Beauty.
Oh, I think I got a little snapper here. A brim or something.
Brim.
Oh, look at that. That's a keeper.
Better size.
Can't catch a snapper anywhere.
Well,
but we
nice
catch one.
size.
You want to see a trick, mate?
So, Peter, what is your favourite fish to eat yourself?
It has to be flathead. Simple, Full of flavour. It's beautiful.
Whoa, he's on. It's a flatty.
Yeah, right.
Right, lift it straight up to me.
All right, okay.
Lift it up, I'll get it off the hook for you, mate.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
It's bigger than your last one, Ted, so I'm quite impressed. Oh, you got another flathead,
Oh,
Pete.
got it.
Bring it straight up the boat.
What's your line?
Straight in the boat. Oh, oh that's enough for lunch now.
And guess who won? And you know what? I can't wait to celebrate.
Come this way.
It's going excellent, I hear.
Thank you. Yes, going well, very well.
So where are we going now? I thought the kitchen was downstairs.
Yes, we're going to my one of test kitchen.
The test kitchen? Is that where you come up with your new recipes?
Sort of.
You going to do something for us now?
Yes.
Fantastic.
This way.
Now, we've caught this beautiful flathead today. What magic are you going to do with it?
I don't know whether this is a magic or not, but gonna get thinly sliced flathead.
Bondi is also where one day, over a few beers, we made a deal. I'd teach Oods how to cook, and he'd teach me how to fish. Sometimes I just wonder how smart a deal that really was. Oods, hold these, mate. It's getting a bit rough, mate.
That's why we've got to hurry, mate. It's getting really rough. It's pretty efficient, my boat.
Mate, you're like quick draw McGraw. So I've got a brekkie dish that I think you might even love.
Breakfast? You don't eat fish for breakfast.
Mate, we are today.
Oh, it's un-Australian. Slow down. Me and my sister were born in Bondi. When I was growing up, this was my backyard. The closest thing I ever had to a footy was a lobster pot, and when I asked my dad for a cricket bat, he got me a fishing rod. We're fishing on one of my favourite marks, which is basically on the edge of a reef where the sand hits the reef. Now, that's where the congregation of most fish hang out.
Now, it's this bait that we're using. What are they like?
Well, they're very fresh prawns. It's so rough that we're going to have a good chance of getting a good feed of table-sized fish, which is what we're after here. And we're in close, it's rough, it's good conditions. Anyone else will be too crazy to come out here.
There's no one else out.
There's no one else out. Do you know what I really hate about fishing? When you work 6 days a week, you cannot pick the weather on your day off. I'm getting a hit, Pete.
Oh, yeah?
I'm getting a hit.
Now, they use GPS for this nowadays, don't they?
Oh, most people do. They use GPSs, which is a system that tells you exactly where you are from the satellites. But, whoa!
There we
I
go.
like to use my own instinct and landmarks, like off a set of trees, a rock on a point, whatever it might be. Wow! Look at the action of that rod! Beautiful. A lot of the other guys come out here and put big chunks of lead on, and they come down like a bomb out of the sky, and every fish within 2 kui goes in the opposite directions. But we're letting floating baits go down really slowly. And this is where you'll get the proper fish that we're after. Let's have a look what we've got here. Oh, look at that.
Look at that, mate.
But what this does indicate to me is we're right on the sand, but this is probably one of the best table fish around.
Mate, that's beautiful.
A flounder. And I'm looking forward to eating a bit of that maybe, Pete.
All right, enough of the chit-chat. Time to get the catch of the day. Now, the fish I really want to cook today is kingfish. So we're heading out just past the heads to the deeper and slightly rougher waters of the Tasman Sea, which is the gateway to the cooler waters between Australia and New Zealand, where Udo reckons there is a kingdom of kingies there for the catching.
Where did you see those birds working, Pete?
Oh, there, mate.
Are they working or are they just hovering?
No, they're working.
Just keep an eye on that depth sounder, mate. As soon as you see any columns, let me know.
Okay.
Pete, we have to come out here, and I know it's a bit rougher, but when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and it's getting tougher out here.
Is this one of your favourites or first time?
This is one of my favourite spots, but also we can't go out too far because it's quite rough out there, you know?
Mate, this is a bit rougher than what I'm used to back on the canals of the Gold Coast. With a bit of bread on the line for those little bream, mate.
I heard there's quite a few big sharks in the Gold Coast canals.
So what does it take to be a great fisherman?
A bit of time, a bit of tiny bit of money. You can really do it cheap. When we grew up, we did it on a shoestring budget. We'd catch all our own bait, find our own sinkers. Sinkers act like gold in a river. They all get drifted into one area, so you can go and find your little local spots, and all we'd have to buy is hooks. Half the time we'd find a bit of line. Floats we'd find swimming around the ocean.
None of this stuff then?
None of this gear, mate. This is a borrowed boat. And isn't she a beauty?
You didn't mention patience before when it takes to be a great fisherman.
Well, I'm a bit different than most people, not just the spelling of my name. I think people who've got patience catch no fish because they've got far too much time to sit there and stare at the sky and the beautiful environment around them. And believe me, you don't need patience to catch fish. You've got to hunt around until you catch one, and that's what we're doing today. And hopefully I'll prove it too.
So tell me a bit about the kingfish shoots.
Kingfish are great finding fish, and in fact, only recently they've stopped commercially trapping the fish, which really put a dent in their population. And now that they've stopped that, they're really, really making a big comeback.
Mate, they're a beautiful fish to eat.
Pete, can you pull that up and just make sure we've still got a yellow tail on?
Yep.
He's fine. Pete, you feeling all right? You've got to have a bit of a good stomach to get out here on a day like this.
If I haven't been sick yet, what does that mean?
It means you're pretty good, mate. That's it, Pete.
Kingy, do you reckon?
Hey?
Shaking its head.
Mate, I reckon it's a kingy. That's what we're after.
There we go, look at that. See some colour?
There we go. We've got a kingfish. You take that net and start operating on that. I'll just measure him up. Just on 60, Pete, you're laughing.
Beautiful.
I might just wrap him right and put him on ice. Yeah, we'll catch a few, but we're only going to keep one or two, because I think the best thing is do the right thing by the environment and the fish. Let's keep this population going and keep our fishery going for generations to come, because it's fun out here, isn't it?
Mate, it's unreal. That'll do a few of us. That's perfect for us. Kingfish is a great fighter to catch and an even better fish to eat. It's got nice, firm flesh and great fat content that you can either bake, grill, fry, sashimi, well, pretty much anything. The one thing I'm going to teach you about seafood is not to overcook it. And the kingfish dish we're doing today is fantastic. We're actually going to do two dishes. One's a raw dish and one's a rare dish. We'll do the raw one first, a kingfish carpaccio. I know you've all had sashimi before, but this is better, I think. It's an Italian version, just raw fish marinated with lemon juice, olive oil, and a few flavourings. Now, the kingfish, like tuna and salmon, has a bloodline once you take the skin off it. It's pretty important you get rid of that because it tastes a little bit bitter. Leave that to the birds. Now, all we're going to do is slice this paper thin, really sharp knife. When you see carpaccio in the Italian restaurants with the beef, what they actually do is freeze the beef down and then slice it on a slicer to get it that thin. I don't want to do that with the fish. I don't want to freeze the fish. I want to keep it as fresh as possible. So just slice it as thinly as you can. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit thick, because it just tastes beautiful too. Now, the great thing about this kingfish, just has fish to eat. It's got nice, firm flesh and great fat content that you can either bake, grill, fry, sashimi, well, pretty much anything. The one thing I'm going to teach you about seafood is not to overcook it. And the kingfish dish we're doing today is fantastic. We're actually going to do two dishes. One's a raw dish and one's a rare dish. We'll do the raw one first, a kingfish carpaccio. I know you've all had sashimi before, but this is better, I think. It's an Italian version, just raw fish marinated with lemon juice, olive oil, and a few flavourings. Now, the kingfish, like tuna and salmon, has a bloodline once you take the skin off it. It's pretty important you get rid of that because it tastes a little bit bitter. Leave that to the birds. Now, all we're going to do is slice this paper thin, really sharp knife. When you see carpaccio in the Italian restaurants with the beef, what they actually do is freeze the beef down and then slice it on a slicer to get it that thin. I don't want to do that with the fish. I don't want to freeze the fish. I want to keep it as fresh as possible. So just slice it as thinly as you can. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit thick, because it just tastes beautiful too. Now, the great thing about this kingfish, just has a great mouthfeel when you eat it, especially raw. Once you finish slicing, just pop it on your knife or a spatula and transfer it to your serving plate. Now that's the hard bit done. The easy bit is just to flavour it. Now with carpaccio, you always use some acid. So today, lemon juice, but you can use lime juice or even a little bit of vinegar. All it does is cure the fish and just makes it a little bit more palatable. Next ingredient, I've got some preserved lemon. It's nice and sweet, got a real distinctive flavour. It just screams Italian. It's beautiful. Some capers. They just add a little bit of saltiness to the dish. I love them. We've got some baby basil here, but you could use any herb if you've got parsley, chervil, tarragon. And what really works really nice is some deep fried sage. Okay. Dress that with really good quality extra virgin olive oil. Don't use cheap stuff. Buy the best you can, especially on a dish like this, where you're just trying to get the maximum flavour out of everything, okay? Some sea salt, very important. Just finished with some cracked pepper. Now that's probably one of the simplest dishes, and it's great for this time of the year. What better thing could you eat than that?
These screenings are done in concert with undergraduate optometrists from each of the universities. So as well as interacting with people in need, if we can refer to them in that way, we're also spending a lot of time working alongside the future optometric workforce. And so I know I always enjoy those interactions. They're full of enthusiasm, and it really always makes you look into what really motivates you as an optometrist.
Thank you for bringing eye care to people all over the world, for restoring hope and dignity to people in need, for helping to lift children out of poverty and into happiness. Your support has reached countries like Vietnam, Haiti, Tanzania and Sri Lanka. You have changed the way people see the world. Thank you for opening up the world with the gift of optometry. Have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. The training of local eye care professionals is perhaps the single most important way that we can ensure in time that underserved communities have sustainable access to quality eye care services. With your support, we're helping to provide funding globally for 14 schools of optometry. Today, 783 students study optometry. 559 students have graduated between 2008 and 2017. This means that they will be able to give eye care support to almost 1 million people in a single year. Your contribution is providing hope and opportunity to people around the world.
Cooper Vision is very, very highly thought of because of the work that we've done over recent years supporting optometry giving sight. So have no doubts about that. What I've seen is just how well it's working and how effective the support that we provide, the funds that we raise individually, collectively, corporately, through our customers. The programs they're supporting really work. They're extremely effective, and everyone should feel pride in what we're doing in supporting this work. Every dollar is really making a significant difference, and that difference changes lives. Vision is just so fundamental to having productive, healthy lives, and you can see the difference that it's making here. So I'd urge you to do as much as you possibly can. If we're really to help optometry through optometry giving sight and the support that we provide, that's where we can make a lot of difference, is helping them grow their undergraduate training programs and really build a strong, comprehensive optometric service across Vietnam. So do understand that this is not just scratching the surface. You can actually get to a lot of people with a well-resourced team, and if we keep going with this, you can really make a meaningful difference.